Hi there, welcome. Darla LeDoux here, your host of Shift the Field TV. And I have something special today that I'm sharing. I'm hosting an event at the end of October with my friend Ron Reich. Now, Ron is an amazing strategist and business coach who has helped so many names that you would know in our industry to find that aligned strategy and just skyrocket. You know, I love magic. I love energetic alignment. And Ron and I are both fanatics that you really need both. You need the energy and you need the strategy, and you need the structure and the flow, the math and the magic. I'm partnering with Ron on this really cool event. The event is called Divinely Unstoppable Live, and it's happening the end of October in Houston, Texas. And it's divinely unstoppable because when your energy and your strategy are syncing up, you can't not meet your goal. You just can't. And yet, when we're in this human body and we're running a business that's near and dear to our heart, it can be easy for one or the other to go out of alignment. And then we get a result that we don't love. And then we feel some type of way about that result, and those feelings can take us out, right? So Divinely Unstoppable Live is about both getting the energy and strategy aligned and filling up your toolkit with very practical ways to not get taken out by the way you feel about a result, so you can keep your eye on the prize. I'm so excited about this event. You can find out about it at divinelyunstoppable.com. Today's teaching is an excerpt from a call Ron and I did when we were introducing our event just recently. So I think you'll love it. Okay, step two. Step two is activate your magic. So for those of you who have been in my world for a while, you know what this means. And for those of you who are newer to me, I teach something called your sourced magic. This is your inner knowing or your divine guidance. So my definition is your sourced magic is how source, which could be God, spirit, the universe, collective consciousness, you know, the energy of the divine, however you want to think about it, how source wants to work with and through you to raise the consciousness on the planet. So if you're here, I'm assuming that you're someone who wants to see a higher vibration planet, right? People loving each other, respecting the earth, all of those things. And so your sourced magic is your inner guide to a life like that. And it happens to be really valuable for people. Often your magic will show up most easily with your clients, right? Because our guidance is always talking to us, but we have energy barriers, right? Someone told us that it's crazy to, you know, hear voices, or, you know, someone said being an engineer, by the way, I am a recovering engineer, being an engineer and being smart is way better than being a life coach. That's dumb. And so, right, we have judgment about how our guidance wants to guide us. But with our clients, we don't have that judgment and we can bring the magic in. If you're a business owner, tuning into your magic can save you so much time. Like I said, when I knew to make my retreat virtual in March 2020, and I didn't know why, that saved me a ton of time and money and you know, indecision and embarrassment of having to change things and all of that. Owning your magic really will allow you to elevate what you charge. You can bring this truth into the space with your clients, right? Because the reason they're not reaching their goals is something's in the way and they can't see what's in their way. But you can see it with your magic. And so bringing that into the space is really priceless for them, which then means you get to decide what you charge, not based on scarcity, but based on the law of polarity, right? The abundance in the universe. And when you know how your magic works, you can design marketing that supports your magic. So in other words, you can choose the strategies that allow you to be most embodied in your power, and people will see you and recognize you instead of trying to fit yourself into a strategy that doesn't work for you. So, for example, I decided a while ago, Ron, I'm not doing any summits where I have to sit by myself and record a video
Mm-hmm.
because my magic just shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd rather be interviewed or go be live or
Mm-hmm.
and so you get to decide how your magic works and how you show up best and say yes or no based on that. So I have some tips and that, I'm going to talk about the 6 types of magic, but Ron, what's there for you?
Yeah, no, I just that was a huge breakthrough for me was just this idea of really embracing my magic. Like yeah, when I took your quiz, it turns out that I'm an expansive magician. Like that's my power really is like seeing helping people see kind of like the bigger pictures, kind of seeing that bigger vision for them that they're not able to see. And often I could just see things that they can't see. And so kind of having that awareness, it really just made it a lot, not only was it a lot easier for me when I worked with clients, it was also a lot more effective because I was kind of leaning into that more and more. It was a lot easier. It also really allowed me to really, as you mentioned, really expand my marketing and market in a way that's better. So for me, similar to yourself, there's a reason why we get along. I work really, really well when I'm really demonstrating my magic vis-a-vis like doing trainings like this or coaching people specifically and really like doing like in the live event environment. That's when I could my magic really really shines. So that's why a big part of my marketing mix includes doing a lot of those things, for example. So just having that clarity has really really been super duper helpful amongst other things.
So there's 6 types of magic, and I've identified these by working with clients. And I really created this structure because during COVID, especially, I had so many clients coming to me and saying, "I think I think the universe is telling me to do this. What do you think? Am I right?" And there was a lot of like asking for permission. And so I sat down with my recognition magic, which is making connections, looking for patterns, creating frameworks, and really looked at what are the things I'm hearing from clients over and over and the way they're being guided. And so that's really where the magic types came from. There's a quiz you can take to learn yours, and you probably know that. I can drop the link in the chat in a minute, but I'm not going to walk through all 6, but I'm going to ask 4 questions that you can ask yourself. And just like a little taster. Question number 1: when have I just known something, whether I can explain it or not? And how did I know? When have I just known something, whether I can explain it or not? And how did I know? And I would love to hear if you feel up for typing that in the chat. When is a time, and take your time, really feel into it, where you just knew, I just knew I was going to Ron's event. And it was
Mhm.
extremely inconvenient. I had 2 other events that month, but I just knew. Nico, I just knew without any other input, meaning any other magic, just a knowing.
Would anybody, I guess
Yeah.
let's do this. Would anybody like to share? If you would like to share, unmic
Raise your
yourself.
little
Yes.
Zoom hand.
Sure.
Y'all, I promise it's worth it because I like my magic likes to hear other people's voices. So as we're doing that, let me just share. So we talked about expansion, which is Ron, really being able to see the big picture, see what's possible if there were no limits, right? Because the universe really is abundant. It makes sense that Ron's favorite law is the law of polarity. There's the second one I talked about, recognition magic, making connections, seeing the energetic threads between things that maybe other people don't see. By the way, type me in the chat if any of these sound like you. There's sensation magic, which is feeling in your body the energy of another person. It's the closest thing to empath, but it's really, getting guidance through your body for yourself and on behalf of others. There is vibration magic, which is seeing the world through an energetic lens. Maybe you see colors, or you literally, some people see the vibration, or you hear the tone of voice or the word, the word choice of that someone has. There is expression magic, which is a channeling, which could be through words, music, art, etc. And then compassion magic, which is healing with your heart. It's a deep space, a safe space. You're the most amazing retreat leaders, compassion magicians. It is a space of non-judgment and helping people really accept the parts of themselves that they haven't seen or haven't accepted.
That all sounds good. Yeah, Misha, she's Misha, can you say something?
Oh, okay. So for me, as I was getting ready to type my response, that I'm getting emotional because I knew I needed to leave my 9 to 5. But the reason why I'm getting emotional is because I've left it. But now I don't know that I am hearing myself anymore.
Mm. How did you hear
So
it that you knew you needed to leave? How did it show up for you?
it was a feeling in my body, just feeling completely dissatisfied,
Mm.
uh, feeling completely checked out. And it was a very strong sense of not belonging. Where the environment that I was in, it's just that was not where I needed to be.
So it feels like an important part of your next step is going to be creating a business where you belong and where people belong. Thank you for sharing. It makes me think of this idea of structure and flow, right? And as much as, we can feel like we don't fit in a job, sometimes people get physically sick,
Mm-hmm.
even at the thought of going in. And then there is a structure there. How do we create our own structure so we kind of know what to do each day? Are you having that trouble of like knowing how to build?
One of the things the struggle has been, like, I know that I haven't been consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more that I've been consistent, the more I feel a little bit more connected.
Mm.
So
Mm.
structure defined as, so I did start my own business. I know the space that I want to create for people to feel welcomed and to feel like they can authentically be themselves and also discover who they are as individuals and not the inner child that oftentimes or sometimes shows up for us in adults. And so I know that is very clear for me and I feel it. Again, that same sensation that comes through my body, like I know this is what I need to do. But the structure is kind of lacking. And I think that's where I need to focus on.
Great. So I hear when you show up for it regularly, it shows up for you. And just really acknowledging your journey of, stepping out of the structure and now you have to create your own. And, that's part of why we're coming together. So I love that you're here, is to really help people have an action plan and know the steps they need to take so they can spend their time being in their magic instead of, kind of waking up every day and trying to figure out what to do. So thank you so
Yeah,
much
thanks for
for
sharing.
sharing.
And yeah, that's I just realized again, it's related to what we were talking about earlier about being anti-fragile. I mean, this is a great example. Like you are a hero for taking that step. That's a step that most people are not willing to do. So really acknowledge yourself from that. This is the exact type of thing that I was mentioning. Like the fact that you might have some of those, maybe call them doubts, negative feelings about kind of like this new situation that you're in. Again, that's a positive indicator. Everybody who quits their job and steps into the unknown, you're always going to feel those doubts. So and it's going to be awesome to see you flourish and overcome all that. So just want to acknowledge you for that. Awesome.
I have 3 more questions for us about your magic. When you just know, so people were sharing different examples of that, do you back yourself? In other words, I'm guessing Misha had people say, why would you quit your job? I know I did when I left. Can you stand by your knowing, or is something in your blind spot kind of making you question? So I'm curious, will you back yourself? Question 3 is, what might my knowing be worth to someone else who really wants to make a change? However your magic works, right? Like Ron can see precisely like, oh, this is the direction that would expand you, right? That's expansion magic. And it's like, what is that worth? For me, I can see the pattern, right? I hear in Misha sharing, Misha probably has this magic too, this trauma of not belonging, that needs to be cleared to create a space for people to belong, right? And so what is that magic worth to someone? Because belonging everywhere you go, when your history is feeling like you don't belong, and you have very good reasons for feeling that way, right? But belonging, walking into a room belonging, that's a priceless kind of result. And I know a lot of people here can help people in that way. That's very priceless. And question number 4, this is one to ponder. We're going to do more with this in the next segment. But how can my marketing demonstrate the way my magic works? Here's the thing about this. We want to invite people to experience us in our magic, but we don't want to go give it, I say give it willy-nilly. Like you don't want to go tell someone, oh, I see that, you're not confident to do this talk or get on stage or whatever. Like, don't go telling people that unless they are paying you for it and they've asked you for it. It's a boundary violation, right? But can you create marketing that lets people sense it because you're so embodied in it? And like Ron said, live events and laser coaching is a demonstration, and people go, oh, I want that. Do me, right? And so you really want to consider your magic as you are thinking about your marketing. So I have so many examples of how when people started to own their magic, they were able to charge more. Like our client April, who was getting expression magic, getting these words in her ear, like literally Source was telling her what was going on with her client. And she thought she was crazy and she didn't want to say it out loud. And so she's over there doing marketing fulfillment work for her clients. Like you were saying, the behind the scenes, right? They come in and say, market me. And she was doing that. But Source was saying, yeah, but this person is never going to get seen until they deal with the fact that they were adopted or whatever it is. Like and the words would just come and she would ignore them until she really started to embrace it and actually let people know that her work, her marketing work is so much more effective because she's tapped into Source, because she can see what they can't and help them get aligned. Don't leave money on the table. Don't make it hard for people to see the real you. Don't try to fit into other people's strategy, even though it makes your magic kind of want to cry. Own your magic.